Okay. So in this particular example here, 277, this is a side angle side, right? Side angle side. So you either recognize that it's a side angle side, which means you have to use the cosine law, or remember that if there is no pair, you have to use cosine law. Whichever one is easier for you to remember. Okay, so there is no pair. I will just put that here, no pair. Can't use sine law. Okay, you cannot use sine law to start. You may use it after, but not yet. Okay, so this is how we work these questions out. You start with the side that's opposite, the only side that's missing, by the way. And then this is the pattern, right? You take one of the sides, square it, take the other side, square that, right? And then it's basically just minus 2 times that first one times the second side. So these two show up again, but they're not squared here. And this is important because some folks mix up sine law and cosine law later on. When it looks like this, you know it's cosine law. In this case, it's 41 degrees. Okay. So if you do have a highlighter, I don't know, I have 3 different highlighters. Maybe I'll just do this here. This side, I will do that color. This side, I'll go orange. And the angle itself, I'll do yellow. Right, so if that helps you, I don't know. So the angle obviously will be the same color. The green is 12.3, right? So it shows up here, and it shows up there. And the orange is there. So you see, it's like, okay, shows up twice. The orange side shows up twice. And the angle is across the side that I'm after. So highlighters are very helpful in this course, as you can tell. Next line is just y is equal to square root. Notice that I'm dropping the square, that I'm taking the square root of both sides essentially. And so I typed all of that in. If you have one of these calculators, you typed it in one shot. 12.3 plus 12.1 minus 2 times 12.3 times 12.1 times cosine of 41. Enter. And so you get 73.0531. So if you just want to write down 4 decimals, that's fine. I will say that I'm using all of them. Take the square root of your answer, and it's 8.55, right? The 7 bumps that to a 5, and we are in centimeters, which is what I told you already the answer was going to be. All right. How about this? I'll skip that second question for today. You do have the answer, right? I give you the answer. It's right there. So I'll skip it for today because I want to teach you how to do angles, how to solve for angles. And I actually made some changes to the book just last summer to make sure that it's a little bit, it shows more examples there. So skip that one. You can try that on your own. Anybody know, before I move on, what kind of triangle is this? It has a name other than Joey, because I know you've answered quite a few. Dino. Sorry? What kind of a triangle? There's like three types of triangles. Starts with an I. Isosceles, yes. So this side is the same as this side. So what do we know about the angles across from it? They're also going to be the same. So just a little hint. This one can be done actually quicker than your regular question. All right. Let's skip that one as well. Do you want the answer? Let me see if I have it ready. This one is, because it's asking how much further, 467.91 meters further. That's the answer to 3 if you want to give that a go. I might on Tuesday get you to go back and try it. Solving for angles using cosine law. This is new. So right next to this, I want you to put down, it's when you're going to have one of these triangles. Side, side, side. Right? So if you ever see a side, 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 you know for sure you don't have a pair, right? Because you only know 3 sides. You don't know any angle opposite to any of the sides. So you know it's cosine law. So it says calculate the size of angle P. So they want this one here. Okay. Look at the 3 sides. It's the longest side. Just by looking at the numbers, don't even look at the diagram. It's the longest side, correct? That means that this.
Grade 10, it's your turn to exit the building for Terry Fox. Grade 10, your turn for Terry Fox.
Largest angle. So just remember that. That's what we're doing here. Okay, so I'm going to go and find A. I'm going to answer A right here. So watch this. If you want to find angle P, you got to start like this. Cosine of angle P is going to be equal to, I want you to make a long line like that. And before you do anything, there's going to be 3 sides here, right? There's going to be a plus, like a side plus another side. But what is always at the end here? It's going to be minus P squared. That's the important thing. So you're going to have A squared. Sorry, not A squared. That's labeled as lowercase q. And this is lowercase r. Please make sure. And this is lowercase p. So we have p squared across the angle that we're trying to find. So that means that r and q are going to be over here. R squared and q squared are going to be there. So all of them are squared, but you just got to make sure that these are across from each other. Okay? And then at the bottom, it's just 2 times r times q. Like it's these 2 sides showing up again. Okay? You do have you might not want to highlight. Okay, that's fine. Because you don't carry 3 highlighters on you, do you? I don't think so. I wouldn't have done that in high school. I didn't highlight anything. So I see some of you highlighting, so that's good. So cosine of P is r squared, which is 21.6 squared, plus q squared, which is 16.9 squared, minus, you got to make sure you get that right, minus p squared, which is 31.2 squared. over 2 times R, and R I already used up there, which is 21.6, and Q is 16.9. This would be very important to show, obviously, to start off your work. Okay? Then next line is like this. Cosine of P is going to be equal. I don't want you to do this in one shot. I've had too many bad experiences with students getting this wrong. So grab your calculator, and we're gonna find the top number, write it down, and then find the bottom number, write it down. So 21.6 squared plus 16.9 squared minus 31.2 squared is equal to, is that a negative, Mr. Dirksen? Did I make a mistake? Didn't make a mistake. It's okay. It's okay. Negatives are okay. Because you're subtracting a bigger number. Okay, write it down. Just like that. Make sure you don't drop the negative. I will highlight that so that it sticks out. Now let's do the bottom before they call us. I'm sure they're going to call us within 15 minutes. So I want to finish this example at least. So now I'm doing the bottom part. 2 times 21.6 times 16.9. No squaring, none of that. Okay, it's just multiplying. You get 730.08. Write it down, all decimals. Okay, you might have up to 4. That's about it. And then right next to it, we're gonna divide this and write it down. So we're gonna go negative 221.27 divided by 730.08, and you get that. I will leave it on my calculator, but write down the first couple. Negative 0.3030 dot dot dot. What do you think is going to happen now? Remember for angles, Joey, go ahead. Second function close, which calls the inverse, right? Calls cosine inverse. So watch this. We're going to go angle P is cosine inverse of what I just found, 0.30 dot dot dot, and you can answer it right next to it if you'd like. So I'm going to go shift or second, whatever your calculator does to call it, and then press cosine. I will hit equal, and it is 107.64 degrees. You heard it right. It's 107.64. Okay, this is the answer I'm after. And I'm going to be in a bit of trouble here because I'm running out of room for Q. But can I just add something down here? Please add here a negative value will result in an obtuse angle. Okay, and I'm going to highlight that. If you can like make it very visible, obtuse is bigger than 90. Because watch this, if I were to just take the inverse of 0.3030, not negative, I would get 72 degrees, right? It's different. Just that negative makes it different. Okay. Do you think you can wrap your head around this on a Friday? No? Richard's saying no. He fumbled, that guy, so. Wrestled probably. Okay, let's do Q right next to it. I apologize for the that room restriction there. Calculate the size of angle Q. So for B, please write it down right next to it if you can. Is there room next page? Probably not. That's my bad. So try to write small. So I'm going to actually start under B here. Cosine of Q, if that's the angle I want, I need to start cosine of Q. Make a long line. What's going to be at the end here? It's going to be minus side Q squared. And then you take the other two and just add them in front. So it'll be R squared plus P squared. The order doesn't matter. You could go PR or RP, it doesn't matter. And at the bottom, you have 2 times R times P. So your formula is now this. Make sure you highlight angle Q and side Q. And I will just do this, arrow, arrow, opposite to each other. 11.
It's your turn to head out on the Terry Box run. Grade 11, head out for the Terry Box run.
So that's what I have. So I'm going to now insert my values. R is 21.6. I'm going to square that. P is 31.2. Square that. Minus Q, which is 16.9 squared. Over 2 times 21.6 times 31.2. Cosine of Q is, we're going to figure out the top and the bottom separately. So I encourage you to do that. See if you can get the same answer as I am. Oh, I didn't square the last one. Here. It's 1,154.39. See how that's not a negative? It's a positive. So you know it's going to be an acute angle. So then I go 2 times 21.6 times 31.2. 1347.84. Let's get the decimal right next to it. I'm going to erase a little bit here because I don't need that much room. Equals. I get 0.8564, and that keeps going. So that's 8564. If you can't read that, angle Q is cosine inverse of 8564. That's 3108. Which makes sense. It's across the shortest side. By the way, you can only have one obtuse angle per triangle ever. You cannot have anything bigger than any more than one obtuse angle. So I'll just make a note. Positive, therefore acute angle. That's all I'm going to say there. If the value inside that inverse is positive, you will have an acute, meaning less than 90 angle there. Question, let's step back a little bit. As soon as you found this angle right here, look at the screen once, right? When you found the 107, did you have a pair at that point? You should all say yes, even though you don't agree with me right now, you should say yes, right? Because when you found angle P, this one, you actually now have a pair. So you could transition over to sine law if you wanted to, right? Because now you have a pair, you could use sine law to find Q. But it's up to you how you want to proceed, right? We could also easily now find the third angle because we have 2 out of the 3. But that would not fit right now. So watch what it says for. Go to 279. It says solve each triangle. That means all sides, which is already done, by the way, all angles. So I want you to use the cosine law basically to find an angle. Always start with the largest angle and then find the rest of the angles as well. And I will go over that